Hi, it's Marion from Attire and Beyond, adding another part to my reading. My phone rang for the last one. I apologize. I don't have enough time to edit at this point, so I'm just starting from the next place. So this is still about Robbie Mater and her cancer and cancer treatment and how her positive thoughts and prayers helped her so much. I know that my journey is to help other women to get the message that it's okay and they will be okay. And that stress kills you more. So don't stress out. Just take the steps on your way to recovery. I am doing everything and more that I did before. And even though I have had 5 surgeries, it has not slowed me down. So go out into the world and take on the day to its fullest. And remember, share your story with others as it could save their life as well. And it's so true because she does everything. And she's such a beautiful, nice woman. I mean, beautiful inside and out. So then I write, as my editor was reading this chapter on attitude, she told me these stories and I asked her to share them with you. Here are some examples of attitude and how it can affect others around you. Let It Go, written by Kathy Welsh. Many of us have heard the term let it go. My definition is trying not to think any longer about either the situation giving the trouble or the comment someone made. Poof, it's gone. Only, it's not that easy. It is difficult to do because we are human and we wish to have the last word. I was a customer at a huge garage sale at a former airport where hundreds of vendors set up to sell their treasures. Aisle after aisle, booth after booth, we visited just about everyone. Many of the sellers greeted us with a friendly hello. How are you? Or, if you have any questions, let us know. Which to me meant they already had good energy and good attitude about selling their items. They were there for the day and hoped for the best. One booth I encountered a young boy ranting and raving about a customer lowballing a price on an item. The kid, he was probably in his late teens, early 20s, but to me, he's a kid. And this again is Kathy Welsh. Couldn't let it go. Even after the customer left empty-handed, he went on and on about how insulted he was with the low price he was offered. His energy was bad. His attitude was bad. Although they had many items in their booth, I walked away thinking to myself, let it go. What is the point of rehashing the situation when eventually someone will come along and buy the item for the asking price? Another day, I was at a gas station pumping gasoline into my car and heard raised voices. Yet again, another young male, probably the same age as above, was cursing at an older gentleman because he didn't move his car up enough so he could get around it to park at another pump. The older man was patiently waiting in line for his turn, apparently too far from the pump. After the boy paid for his gas, he sped away, screeching his tires to show how big and bad he was. He was bad, all right. His attitude was bad. Yet most people have a good attitude about life. They roll with the punches because they realize getting upset over circumstances beyond their control is pointless. They remain calm and serene and deal with the situation the best way they are able. And I believe, yes. Oh, and she says, I am guilty of having a bad attitude at times, but I try to remember to let it go because in most cases, it's out of my control. When I have the urge to lash out and show my bad attitude, I will think of Marion and ask myself, what would Marion do in this case? That's funny. I forgot she wrote that. I'm almost certain she would say, take a deep breath and let it go. Yes, now I say breathe, breathe. And I wrote, thanks, Kathy. That is exactly what I would say. You go, girl. This comes back to me. On Iyanla Van Zant show, Fix It, she interviewed Evelyn Lozada. She points out how Evelyn shows a lot of violence on the show, Basketball Wives. Evelyn shared details about when she can't control the violence, she gets caught up in the moment and quickly goes from 0 to 10 when the trigger goes off. And there is no in between. It is how many women in her family dealt with the conflict. I just dealt with this in my own life with someone in a work environment. It's not pretty. I wrote that. She informs Iyanla how she is always in defense mode. She says, I don't trust anybody. Iyanla asks, what is it about you that creates that with people in this world? Not this is happening to me, not they are doing this to me, but who am I being right now that someone would believe they have permission to behave like this in my life? She asks Evelyn to repeat and add in her own words. What scares me most is blank. What scares me the most is blank. She advises her to have awareness. You call it anger, but I say most of what you've done has been out of fear. A lot of us do things out of fear. She clarifies how she is as who she saw modeled and can only be what she was taught to be. So I said that in a weird way. So she is what was modeled to her by her elders, and she can only see herself as that way because that's what she was taught. She advises her. Oh, I'm sorry, I read that already. A lot is said in between about fear and anger, about who she is representing, even with her shoes that have spikes on them. Now, I have absolutely nothing against her shoes with spikes on them. I was just talking that Iyanla spoke to her about, well, who does she want to hurt with those shoes? I believe that was it because it was 7 years ago. So if it wasn't, I apologize. Figure out who you are not. You are not just the studs on your shoes. Maybe if we figure out who you're not, we can get clear about who you are. The way you've been coping with fear is you go into anger and rage because you can then control the vulnerability. It is no longer appropriate for who you are. If you were not able to watch it, it may still be on the OWN network. This show was one of my favorites at the time for inspiration and personal development. I love Iyanla Van Zant. I love the OWN network, and I love Oprah. Wow, it was powerful and just in time for this chapter. There are no coincidences. Maybe you are getting defensive because it is learned behavior or it stems from a fear. What is it that is making you get shielding or angry? Think about it. Only you can change it. When you feel the urge to lash out coming on, take a deep breath and think about why you are doing it. Ask yourself, does it have anything to do with what is going on now? Or are you basing your response on a past experience? Comes right back to that. Start changing your attitude in relationships. Think from the now, the present. I know that's hard for a lot of people. It's hard for me a lot too, but I keep bringing myself back, and I do that because that's kind of what I do. Again, think from the now, the present. Be open to everything and everyone, and be willing to listen. Listen and think before you speak. It can't hurt. You have the choice to take their advice or input or not. It is always your choice. Even if you do not agree, just listen. Some people just want to feel like they are helping or guiding you in the right direction, even if it isn't the direction you are taking. Wow. I just have to say wow because that just made me think of a way I am with one or two people. And wow, that was my aha moment, as Oprah will say. When speaking with others at home, work, or on the phone, always keep in mind this great question from Dr. Wayne Dyer. Would you rather be right or kind? I choose to be kind. Who do we feel we... Who? Why do we feel... I have to laugh at myself, I'm sorry. We always have to be right. We cannot always be right. It's impossible. Why can't we just let things go? I now choose as much as humanly possible to be kind. I'm not perfect, believe me. I'm trying to find where I was. For the most part, when people offer advice, I say, you can be right. I am not sure, but I will look into it, or I will take that into consideration. In the past, my defenses would go up, and I would think to myself, what do they think? I'm stupid? Actually, I caught myself saying that recently to somebody. I said, I'm not stupid. Ooh. The old stuff always comes out, even in me. I wrote the book and I need to read it to feel better and to get better and to remind myself. So let's see. I'm now curious. Why can't we just let things go? I now choose as much as humanly possible to be kind. For the most part, when people offer advice, I say you can be right. You can be right. I am not sure, but I will look into it, or I will take that into consideration. I had to read that for myself again. Sorry. In the past, my defenses would go up, and I would think to myself, what do they think? I'm stupid? I know what to do in this situation. I would even get a defensive attitude. Once every few months, I still catch myself. Oh, good, even back then. Sometimes people do think they know more than us, and that's okay. Let them think it. It makes them feel good. All they are trying to do is help with what they know. We do the same thing. Let's do our best to keep an open mind when others are speaking to us, and our relationships will begin to soar. Another reason I think relationships go over the deep end is we sometimes forget we are not our partner's parent. And that's going to be the next chapter that I read. It's the not next chapter, excuse me, the next part in the attitude. This is called the parental attitude. I'm sure you've had someone who's had a parental attitude with you. I've been there, had it, done that, and vice versa. So, Marion from Attire and Beyond. Tomorrow, or maybe later, soon, I'll be back with part, whatever it is. Oh, I just snorkeled. Whatever that's called. Snorted. I know I'm crazy, so this is who I am, though. I read the book like I'm talking, and this is just how I am. And the place is closed, so I'm able to do this whenever I have time in between. So thank you for joining Marion from Attire and Beyond, Highland, New York. Remember that too. And I will see you in the next chapter section.